The case of Lyle and Erik Menendez remains one of the most infamous and controversial in American legal history. The brutal shotgun murders of their wealthy parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in their Beverly Hills mansion on the 20th of August, 1989, captured national attention. While the prosecution portrayed them as greedy, entitled young men who killed their parents for money, the defense painted a harrowing picture of a family riddled with trauma, abuse, and psychological manipulation. This case is unique in its combination of wealth, family dysfunction, and psychological trauma. To fully understand the Menendez murders, one must look beyond the headlines and into the deeply troubled past of a family that projected an image of success while concealing a dark reality of control, abuse, and fear. Let's begin with the Menendez family background. Jose Menendez, the father of Lyle and Erik Menendez. Born in Cuba in 1944, Jose Menendez immigrated to the United States after Fidel Castro's rise to power. He was known for his ruthless ambition, hard work, and relentless pursuit of success. Jose built an empire in the entertainment industry, working as an executive at RCA Records and later becoming the head of live entertainment. He amassed great wealth, allowing his family to live in luxury. Despite his professional success, Jose was described as an authoritarian figure at home. He was known to be highly controlling, demanding excellence from his sons, and was allegedly physically, emotionally, and sexually abusive toward them. Many of his colleagues admired him for his business acumen, but his private life told a much darker story. Kitty Menendez, the mother of Lyle and Erik Menendez, born Mary Louise Anderson in 1941, had a complicated past. A former beauty queen and schoolteacher, she abandoned her career to support Jose's ambitions. She struggled with depression, alcoholism, and prescription drug dependency, allegedly neglecting her son's suffering and enduring a toxic marriage filled with infidelity and dysfunction. Kitty's life before meeting Jose was marked by instability. Her family had high expectations for her, and she often struggled to live up to them. After marrying Jose, she devoted herself to presenting the perfect image of a Beverly Hills wife. But behind the scenes, she suffered from severe emotional distress, often taking her frustration out on her children. Lyle, born in 1968, and Erik, born in 1970, appeared to have it all: wealth, privilege, and a future paved with opportunity. However, behind the facade, they reportedly lived in fear of their father's wrath. Both boys struggled academically and behaviorally, frequently rebelling against their father's oppressive rules. Erik, a sensitive and artistic child, turned to sports, while Lyle, more aggressive, often got into trouble. The Menendez brothers' childhood was filled with immense pressure. Their father demanded perfection, and failure was met with severe consequences. Jose dictated every aspect of their lives, from their education to their extracurricular activities, even down to how they dressed. Erik, in particular, suffered from deep insecurities and anxiety, while Lyle attempted to assert dominance as a defense mechanism. During the trial, Lyle and Erik revealed shocking allegations of sexual abuse at the hands of their father. They claimed that from a young age, Jose had sexually assaulted them, forcing them to perform sexual acts under threat of severe punishment. Erik, in particular, described the abuse in harrowing detail, claiming it continued into his teenage years. The defense also suggested that Kitty was complicit, aware of the abuse but refusing to intervene. Witnesses testified that the boys exhibited behaviors consistent with sexual trauma, including bedwetting, panic attacks, and self-destructive tendencies. Psychologists presented expert testimony on the effects of prolonged abuse, arguing that the brothers suffered from battered child syndrome, a condition typically seen in cases of extreme domestic violence. Several close friends of Erik and Lyle later testified that the brothers had confided in them about the abuse long before the murders, strengthening their claims that their actions were driven by fear rather than greed. By the summer of 1989, Lyle, 21, and Erik, 18, had reached their breaking point. They later claimed that Jose had threatened to kill them if they exposed the abuse. Fearing for their lives, they decided to take action. On the night of the 20th of August, 1989, the brothers entered their family's living room with shotguns and brutally murdered their parents. Jose Menendez was shot first, hit multiple times in the back of the head, leaving his face unrecognizable. Kitty Menendez tried to escape but was shot in the leg, fell to the ground, and was then repeatedly shot in the chest and face. The scene was horrific. Authorities said the bodies were unrecognizable due to the sheer number of shotgun blasts. After the murder, the brothers staged the crime scene to look like a botched home invasion. After the murders, the Menendez brothers acted strangely. Instead of showing grief, they went on a massive spending spree, using their parents' fortune to buy expensive cars, designer clothes, and luxury watches. They spent over $700,000 in just a few months. Erik even hired a personal tennis coach, and Lyle bought a $64,000 Rolex and a new Porsche. Their extravagant behavior raised suspicions, and eventually Erik confessed the murder to his therapist, Dr. Jerome Oziel. Oziel's girlfriend later overheard the tapes and leaked them to the police, leading to the brothers' arrest in 1990. The Menendez brothers' trial became one of the most sensational cases of the 1990s, widely covered on television. Their defense argued that they had suffered years of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse and killed their parents out of fear for their lives. Erik and Lyle described in graphic detail how their father molested them from a young age. They claimed they killed Jose and Kitty out of self-defense, fearing they would be murdered for revealing the abuse. The prosecution, however, painted them as spoiled, greedy rich kids who killed their parents for the inheritance. The jury was divided, and the first trial ended in a hung jury. During the second trial in 1996, the judge did not allow the abuse defense to play a central role. With a much stricter focus on premeditated murder, the jury found both brothers guilty of first-degree murder. They were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Menendez case quickly became one of the most sensationalized trials of the 1990s, with live courtroom coverage capturing the public's imagination. The image of two privileged young men accused of brutally murdering their parents clashed with their portrayal as abused victims. The court television network aired hours of trial footage, making the brothers household names. Numerous television specials, books, and even a made-for-television movie emerged, all offering differing perspectives on the case. Public opinion was divided. Some sympathized with their claims of abuse, while others saw them as cold-blooded killers who staged a dramatic defense to avoid punishment. Celebrities and legal analysts weighed in on the case. Some high-profile figures, including mental health advocates, sided with the brothers, arguing that the trial should have given more weight to the abuse allegations. Meanwhile, prosecutors and skeptics dismissed these claims as a fabricated excuse for murder. Over the years, the Menendez case has been revisited in numerous television series and documentaries. The case's lasting impact on pop culture highlights its complexity, as new generations continue to debate whether the brothers were victims or ruthless killers. As of the 2020s, supporters of the Menendez brothers continue to fight for a retrial based on a better understanding of trauma and abuse. Legal scholars argue that the original trials failed to consider the full psychological impact of long-term abuse, while others maintain that the evidence overwhelmingly proves premeditation. In recent years, the advent of social media activism and true crime podcasts has reignited interest in the case. Advocates argue that if tried today, with modern awareness of abuse and trauma, the brothers might have received a different sentence. Today, Lyle and Erik Menendez are both serving life sentences in different California prisons. Lyle is in Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego. Erik is in Pleasant Valley State Prison in Coalinga. In 2018, after 22 years apart, they were reunited in the same prison and allowed to see each other again. Both have married while in prison. Lyle married twice, and Erik married a pen pal. They continue to receive sympathy and support, especially after the rise of social media, where many believe they were victims of severe abuse and did not deserve life sentences. The Menendez case remains controversial even today. Some believe they were abused children who acted out of desperation, while others see them as greedy killers who lied to escape punishment. In recent years, many people, especially younger generations, have become more sympathetic to them, arguing that their sentences were too harsh given the alleged abuse. The Menendez brothers' case is more than a true crime story. It is a reflection of America's evolving understanding of abuse, privilege, and justice. Regardless of where one stands on their guilt or innocence, their story remains a cautionary tale of family dysfunction, legal battles, and media sensationalism. As Lyle and Erik continue to serve life sentences, their case remains a subject of endless analysis